Chase, happy Friday. Somehow we have made it to the very end of the race. This is the final episode of our Game of the Year 2025 coverage. It's our last episode of 2025, period. We are going to take a much needed break after our deliberations and take some time off during the holiday. But if you have not missed it, if you have missed any of the other episodes this week, episode 450 and 451, which was Monday and Wednesday night, were our casual categories, where we broke down 7 categories each night from favorite character to best moment. And we argued and hugged it out and gave you the best of the best. And tonight we have our traditional top 10, where Chase will bring his, I will bring mine. And then the show, through Chase's calculations, he has a whole machine behind him doing this right now.
We'll pump out. You have the whole machine now. You're the one who programmed in the machine.
Yes, we have a
AI has taken another job from humans.
The computer is HTML. We're using HTML, just a real weird little wrapper of HTML stuff to try and guess what our top 10 for the show will be.
Now, I do want to stress, and you will continue to probably fight me on this one. And it hasn't been a problem in any of the previous episodes of Game of the Year that we've done.
Then why bring it up?
But
because it's fake law.
Because if it does come up, I don't want us to feel locked into this. This should be. You're gonna have your list. I'm gonna have my list. Those are anything goes. You can put games even from not 2025 if you want to be a weirdo. Which some people like to be weirdos. I get it. But you can put anything you want on your top 25s or your top 10s for 2025. But when it comes to the show's ranking, the casual hours ranking will only be games for 2025. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think we all just have 2025 games, so that's not an issue. But even if the math puts a game up at the top and we disagree with it, that it should be like the representative choice, even if it got the most points. I think we are allowed to give
that's the most points. It kind of wins.
I understand that, but I think it's worthy to have a discussion.
When the Cardinals,
this not for number 1, but we've done this in the past when it comes to like the top 3 or something. I don't think we really care about the top.
We typically do it with ties.
Sure. I don't necessarily like a committee coming together and just going, average it all out. That feels weak. Now, it is just 2 people averaging out what 2 people
I don't think it's weak if it's 2 of us and the maths. I think that just says, wow, they both had this one game pretty high up. But let's have this conversation.
I think I already know what our collective Game of the Year is.
I think I do too. Yes, I think I do too.
I'm not necessarily against it, but I also would not say that's necessarily my Game of the Year.
It's not my Game of the Year, but it's probably the show's. Is what I would say.
Probably, but I don't know if we'll figure it out. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the numbers will come in a different way.
So we're gonna break down our top 10 games. The list will start to work in real time. So I'm gonna be typing in to this website what's going on. And as I'm typing it, if there's the same game elsewhere on the list for Chase, it will combine that into its collective point system. And Chase, what is that point system?
Yeah, this is weighted rankings. So your number 10 game gets 1 point, your number 1 game gets 10 points, and everything in between. So that's just a way of assigning, hey, my Game of the Year, I think it's really good. I would like to give it more points, weight it in that way. And so obviously the higher it is on your list, the more points it gets, the better chance it has to be well ranked in our collective Game of the Year.
Yeah. And so it's going to start to pull that over. So if Chase's number 1 and my number 1 are different, almost assuredly, you will see 2 games probably on that list with that point system on the right. So it'll start to get eclipsed if there is a game that's, collectively higher combined. I don't know. I think it will do the right thing I've asked it to do. In the code there with
we'll see if need be. I can always pull out the pen and paper and make it work.
But we're also after this going to tell you our most anticipated game of 2026 too. So top 10,
and those are also individual. Like no fighting on that one either. It's just what game is Bobby excited for? What game am I excited for? And honestly, I'm gonna maybe have to work through that at the end of the show because I've got a handful that it could be, and I still don't really know what mine is. Maybe Bobby knows his, but we'll figure it out.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. All right, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about these video games. It's been a year. I'm excited to celebrate these games, and it was a lot of fun to reflect on it. I think that this is a solid list from us, or from me at least, and I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff to play this year. Chase, what was your number 10?
Before I do that, two last caveats. One,
oh my god.
No. This is for the audience, not for me.
Oh.
We might talk about spoilers here. We've done more spoilerific stuff in previous episodes when we talked about, best moment or sequence or best new character. Some of those get a little spoilery. This might be a little less, but there's always a chance we might have to talk about the ending if we're talking about a game that we really like here. That just might come up. So be warned. Maybe skip through some of these if you hear a game name that you're like, oh, I don't actually want to hear about that right now. And number 2, we've done this in the past, but if I say what my number 10 is and Bobby has it higher, this is going to happen, by the way. Right, as soon as I say it, Bobby's going to go, stop. I'll talk about it later, and then we can both talk about it when that happens. So if somebody has it ranked higher, they kind of get the
we wait for the higher weight to carry it.
Right. You don't want me to talk about my number 10 and say everything there is to say, and then when you have it as number 3 or whatever, then you're like, well, we kind of just said it. And,
for sure.
Give the person who's really excited about it.
Those are good caviats to call out. Nice job.
All right, Bobby. My number 10 is Absalom. Is that okay to talk about?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Shut your whore mouth. But right now, Absalom is number 1 with 1 point, baby. It's working.
Yeah, congratulations to Absalom. Stop the count.
Stop the count. All right, Chase. A game that you have not played. Shocking. Slime Rancher 2 is my number 10. Slime Rancher 2.
That low.
Well, just, a lot. It hit 1.0 this year. I put a lot of time into the early access.
That's right. Yeah.
It is such a fun little slice of life game. I think the only thing that you would find somewhat appealing outside of the art style for this is there is a bit of that collect 'em all that I think you dig in games with the slimes. But all the stuff you're doing with them, it's not too intense with some of the other shit.
It's cute. I could totally see myself playing it. The thing that probably turns me off the most about this is that, the slimes can, get out of their cages, and then you still have to figure it out. Like, that seems like a fucking burden. I don't want to be
they just put a net on top of it.
Sure. But you have to be able to get to the net and start crafting nets or whatever, and
it's just
crafting trees and that kind of shit.
That's fair.
I know you are a huge fan. You were a huge fan of the first one. And like you said, you played this one a lot in early access. It probably would be higher if you just played the 1.0.
I think if I would have had like that first bite in 2025, it probably would be way higher. But I've been sitting with it for a bit, and I think it's even like popped up in some categories in years past. But Slime Rancher 2 is out. It is really cool.
Another reason I'm kind of not on the early access train is that I feel like that happens a lot when it comes to game of the year kind of discussions, which is a silly reason. It's a very arbitrary thing. Play the games you want to play. But as people who do a yearly podcast about our game of the years, games of the year, it's something I think about.
I will say that there's some podcasts I listen to where they have just basically thrown caution to the wind. And it's just like, hey, if this is a game that released in the year and you're playing it, whether it's a ROM hack or a remake or an early access or even a fucking demo, talk about it. I disagree. Like, I think in the categories, it's
I think
fine.
That's a valid way to do it. I could never do that.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, do it, go with God. But for our top 10, at least for me, I keep it pure. Like, these are games that came out in the past when we didn't have PC shit. We would be talking about ports because that was the first time we could play it. Like, so we would be putting those on our list, of course, and doing it. So anyway, Absalom and Slime Rancher 2. I'm excited Absalom even made your list, to be very frank. So.
Yeah, that was to give a little hint here. That was where Digimon Storytime Stranger was, and playing Absalom the weekend before we started doing Game of the Year. I'm like, I know I only played Absalom for like 4 hours and I played Digimon for like 40, but I think I'm just having more fun playing Absalom. I'm
Yeah, it's
impressed
really
more about Absalom than I am
totally.
with Digimon. I think Digimon is a decently fine game, but it just ends up not making the list because
Yeah.
Absalom kind of charmed me when I played it, so it got the spot.
I'm excited. In the same breath, I think that it'd be higher if you had more time with it. I'm excited to play it with you, and I think it's a hell of a thing. Chase, what about number 9? How you feel about number 9?
Hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about number 9?
Absolutely.
Still sticks.
It continues to be good. My number 9 is 3 of my favorite words, Bobby. It's balls, dice, and stickers.
Is there any commas or anything in that?
I guess it's balls, comma, dice, ampersand, stickers.
Cool.
So I guess that's technically 4 words, but the balls, dice, and stickers. This is a game that I actually have played. I guess this one is a bit of a bend. Steam says the release date for this game is 2026. I played the itch.io release, which was a full release. It was just kind of more of a proof of concept game that's out there. And
I remember this one.
The proper version is supposed to be coming out on Steam next year. I think this game rules. I only have played the itch.io version, and I had such a great time with it.
That's awesome.
Essentially like a Peggle, or another one of those kinds of games where you shoot something and a bunch of shit happens. You'll see a different game where you shoot something and a bunch of shit happens higher on my list. But I had a really great time with balls, dice, and stickers. It just was some really madcap fun for me. I mean, there was what was the factory game that we played on a Monday night that you played, the old Flash graphics?
You're gonna have to be very bit more specific here.
The one where we were like splitting the numbers every time the ball hit it. It was another.
Nubby's number
factory.
Nubby's
number factory.
Yeah.
Yes. So like that one, I think fits very much in the same kind of genre.
Sure.
But balls, dice, and stickers is the one that I really enjoyed. You were getting so many perks and new things that will, every time you hit them with the ball and ricochet off, it's gaining you more score, and you're getting ridiculous combos that happen all over the screen. Eventually, you're just getting these crazy flashes of shit happening on screen, and the graphics are extremely simple, and the aiming, they show you exactly where the ball is going to go in the entire arc. So it's like when you get the perfect vision for Peggle of exactly how the ball is going to go. It's the same kind of thing here, and it's just gorgeous to watch everything explode into numbers. And I had a really great time with balls, dice, and stickers.
I think some of these games, I would even start to classify, like the Nubbies that you're bringing up, this one, a few others that we've checked out. There's like this absurdist quality to these games. Like they're just insanely absurd, and like the best way. Like they're fucking weird and unique, and they are taking some very, like, I would say Balatro is an absurdist game also, just FYI. Like I would categorize that just in the same way. And there's something really fascinating.
A lot of roguelikes seem to be like that, of like
totally.
they how can you break this? How can you take something to its logical conclusion?
Yep.
And make the things explode.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of games do this kind of work really nicely. And I think balls, dice, and stickers for me was just a standout in the way it was able to execute that.
Hell yeah. My number 9 game, Chase, is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. I had, what I love about this game. It's the Zelda stuff, and I think this is the best one of those that I've played this year. No offense. The other one was really good.
How dare you?
The other one was really good. I'll let somebody else talk about that one. But I find the formula here. The thing that I love about this in comparison to the other Warriors game I played this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love being able to send one of your party members to a spot on the map and switch to them. And have that go. Like I love the strategy of like, who do I want to send to what part of the map? What am I going to be like? When will I switch back over? This one does some really cool stuff with team up moves. I like that the camp has done some other stuff with eating where it's like, if you give the right food and have this modifying bug in your pot, you're going to be able to do like 30% increase on damage, 30% increase on XP. The weapon upgrade systems are really cool. The construct stuff from Tears of Kingdom being here and having Link as basically a construct is fucking rad. The combat feels great on the Switch too. The characters, I like going deeper into those memories that you were experiencing. And I think it's really fascinating to send Zelda back into this like ancient time period and have it be a Warriors game. That works really well here, but it also brings a lot more depth to some of these characters that you didn't get to spend a ton of time with because you were following Link's perspective and only seeing kind of what Zelda was doing for Link. And so I love that I feel like I'm getting a prequel at the same time. I feel like I'm getting this really cool companion guide. I feel like I'm getting some line notes on what was going on in Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm just having a really good time seeing the numbers go up, getting more of that story, which is canonical at this point, by the way, and seeing what the fuck's going on there with it. So this was an easy one for me to put on the list because of how much I enjoyed the last one. And I'm really hoping that Nintendo lets other parts of their properties come over to this formula in a really cool and interesting way. And I know that they've done it with Fire Emblem. I know they're doing it with this, but I'd like to see them continue that a bit. I think there could be some fun stuff with it.
Definitely. I know everybody loves having tweets explained to them, but there was a good Blue Sky post I remember about this game of, question, what was Zelda doing during the events of Tears of the Kingdom? Nintendo, nothing. It will shock you how much nothing happened.
I know.
And then Omega Force, she was killing 1 million dudes.
Yes, literally. Like, and her stuff's really cool. She has one, like, really quickly here. Do you remember the recall function in Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah.
So one of her like big attacks is this recall where she like throws out all these orbs and they cut through the hordes of enemies. Time freezes and she pulls them way back through. So like as she do it the first time, there's people floating in the air and then she hits them again. It's great. Anyway, Hyrule Warriors continues to be really fucking cool. Chase, how do you feel about your number 8?
I feel pretty good about my number 8, but you might have it higher. We'll see. My number 8 is Split Fiction.
Whew. I hate to break it to you. It's not on the list for me.
Whoa! Damn. Wow, I had a profound experience playing a video game with my friend, and Bobby went, nah, I'm good. I got the shitty dragon, so fuck you.
That kind of did it. Honestly, though, not that this matters. It was 11. It was right behind Slime Rancher. So it was Slime Rancher 2 or Split Fiction. And
I had a really nice time playing a video game with my friends.
I did too. I did too.
No, it didn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it.
Oh my God.
It's my time. It's my time, Bobby.
That's fair. That's fair. I understand.
This was my first. I forgot the studio's name. Like the Joseph Fares studio that makes.
God damn it! Why did you ask that question?
Way Out. I know. I'm terrible.
Here, I'll pull it up. You keep talking.
Please do. So it was my first time playing one of those games, and I knew what I was getting into. Like we've seen that so often.
Hazelight.
Hazelight, yes. Mm-hmm. So I gotta say I was maybe a little down on it going in, or not down necessarily, but
we doubted it.
Yeah, I was like, I know what this is. It's gonna be fine, but it's probably nothing super special. And I think there's just a lot of really fun, interesting, smart game design in there. Level design stuff. What can you do with two people? How can you split them apart and make them work together? How can you put them together and make them work together? What kind of puzzles can you add in there? The interestingness of the boss fights. Some of them are just pure. We have to brute force this. This guy's going to kill me, but you can stay alive this long, and then maybe I can jump back into the fight, and then you die, and then I can stay around. But then other ones were, I need to do this part. I have the thing that lets me shield against his attack. You have the thing that lets you hit the guy. So now we have to kind of work in tandem and figure out how we execute against this threat that we're going up against. There's just a number of points in that video game where they do cool stuff. Even
Yeah.
a handful of like side mission stuff that goes, we're gonna take you to a completely different area. We're gonna let you fuck around with a completely new mechanic. We were pigs at one point, sniffing out stuff.
And then we became hot
Took
dogs.
flight. We took flight and did like some glider stuff at
Yeah.
one point. There was a race that was cool. We surfed. Like there's just so many different things that kind of go into that, and I just think we ended up having a really nice time. And it was a really good show that we put together too. A really good
Yeah.
series that we did on my channel, Chasing K Plays. It was one of those games that you suggested to me that we should play, and suggested it as something for Chasing K Plays. And while I was a little skeptical at the beginning, I came out of that going, I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah,
So
same.
so that ended up being my number 8. Obviously, you didn't like it at all. So
Well, obviously, you know what's weird? We didn't
fuck me, I
put
suppose.
anything down for best moment from that game. And now that you were talking through, I'm like,
didn't.
there was a ton of moments that we should have put on that list. Like I think
Yeah.
about that moment where the like espionage one where one of us was the eye in the sky and they like had different variations on that. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Like I loved that game and I loved playing that with you more so. I just it got cut, man. I feel bad about that now. Real dick move on my part. But you know,
That's what I'm saying.
You could just be a bigger dick and not play Donkey Kong Bonanza, Nintendo fanboy. One of the cooler fucking platformers in a long time. I have not loved Donkey Kong this much since Donkey Kong Country days. And this is a phenomenal one of these. This should have been the launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2.
It would have been a better launch title.
It would have been a fucking gangbuster launch title for this. And it's a shame because it's an expensive game. People had just got the Switch 2. They had Mario Kart. They were probably being fed by that.
Mario Kart definitely sold more and would have sold more no matter what. But in terms of selling people on the Switch 2 as an upgrade to the Switch 1, I think Donkey Kong probably did a much better job.
Absolutely, man. And there's just so much cool stuff here. Mechanically, it feels great. Like the way that you can engage with all parts of the environments that you're in. You can just pull up chunks of earth and then jump and start to, ski and surf on that. I think the narrative of it's fine. It's not the worst thing I've seen from Nintendo. It's not the best I've seen there, but it feels great. And I think anybody who had a fondness for Mario Odyssey will find a lot to love here because a lot of the magic, the feel, the vibe, the environment you're in, whatever you want to call it, is present with Donkey Kong. And I like the abilities that they brought in. There's still some, tipping of the hat back to the Donkey Kong Country days. And I think that's really fun when you get to see it. But the worlds are great. The exploration is really fascinating. It's like a casino, man. Like there's always something for you to grab or get. And it just keeps you kind of moving through this. It feels very fast, but not rushing you. It's just a fucking vibrant and alive video game. Everything moves in a cool way. The music's great per usual with Donkey Kong. His redesign is fine. It took me a minute to kind of settle into it. And that was also the same in Mario Kart because they used that version of Donkey Kong, which is largely inspired by what you're seeing in the movies. But it's great. And I think this is what the promise of Nintendo should be right now is like taking some of these things, being more of a risk taker with it. I'm hoping after Zelda and Donkey Kong, Nintendo's like, yeah, maybe we should try a few new things with formulas. Maybe we should mix it up a bit because people seem to really resonate with it. The further I got away from Donkey Kong, like, I mean, at one point in time, I thought it was going to be top 3 for me on this list. And it's not saying that's a bad thing, but like some of the wow factor did lessen the further I got away from the game, but not to the degree where I'm still not sitting here thinking like that is probably like the coolest thing I've played on the Switch this year. And I think it's awesome. I think everybody who has a Switch 2 should play that game, period.
Interesting. I'm even more interested to see if Metroid makes this list now.
It doesn't. I just didn't have enough time with it.
Okay.
Metroid's really cool, but Metroid feels like it's a very fine Metroid Prime is what I would say. Donkey Kong Bonanza feels like the magic platformer that Nintendo makes, in my opinion. Like this is the Nintendo magic this year. Other stuff kind of like Hyrule Warriors, I never felt like had Nintendo magic to it. Like it was just really cool.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's barely a Nintendo game,
Yeah.
right?
You know what
Like
I'm
that's an
saying?
Omega Force game. Yeah.
Right.
And
So,
and you're right. Donkey Kong feels like this is the Nintendo A team doing something
yeah,
and putting together something really interesting. You're right.
totally. So, yeah, I think that is a very fucking fantastic video game that more people should play.
Sounds good.
What about you,
My number
Chase?
7. Dynasty Warriors Origins, the true best Omega Force game this year. I'm obviously a big Dynasty Warriors fan. I've talked about it a lot on the show. Three Kingdoms guy over here, and seeing these characters continue to get nicer looking versions, more higher fidelity looking versions is just cool. It's great to see my boys Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. It's cool to jump into even more numbers of dudes and come out with thousands of KOs. Origins does something a little bit different compared to many of the Dynasty Warriors games. There are some Dynasty Warriors games, or at least like the Extreme Legends ones, where you can make your own officer and play that way. But this is a completely brand new fictional character. They didn't find another person in those books. But this is a completely new fabricated person for this game, and you're part of this kind of secret group, and that's the only person you play.
Yeah.
You get to jump in, and you kind of do the early stuff where everybody's on everybody's same team, and then when the three kingdoms begin to split up and become three kingdoms, you get a route split where you get to choose who you're going to align with and be part of that army going for the rest of the story. I only went through one of the routes. That it is still a pretty long game. So I only ended up doing the Woo route. I would love to someday go back and do the other two routes. And I know that the DLC for this kind of fourth route of the different fourth faction that always kinds of shows up in these games eventually. I'd be looking forward to trying that out too. But
It's a really good game.
Well, it is a good
Yeah.
game. While I do not necessarily like playing as the character, the nameless kind of character here, I did at least enjoy being in that world,
Sure.
and I thought they had a lot of really good combat systems that felt refined from previous Dynasty Warriors games. Similar to Hyrule Warriors, they had a lot of team up attacks that they've continued to refine over a number of entries in the series. And I think they tried to do the storytelling in a more interesting way. I don't know if it always worked out, but I did appreciate them trying something new for a series that we've gotten many titles in. And some of the recent ones they've tried stuff and it has not worked at all. And I would say for the most part, this game worked more than it didn't. Now,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it a little bit probably in the most anticipated, but there is going to be a complete remake of Dynasty Warriors 3, which is where I got into the series, and that is a high point for a lot of people, coming out next year. I'm really interested what the fuck that means.
Like a
Like,
remake for that?
There's called a remake, but wouldn't
Huh.
Dynasty Warriors 4 also just be kind of a remake? They are just telling the same story every single time. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
wonder why they're
curious what
doing that.
means.
That's strange.
Well, it's because a lot of people care about Dynasty Warriors 3. So
No,
I think
you can't fault them for that.
putting the number 3 on there and saying we're remaking the one that everybody loves
Sure.
is probably more of like a marketing grab than anything. But maybe they'll do some things that hew a little closer to that. Anyway, I ended up still really enjoying Dynasty Warriors Origins, even if it's kind of more of a pretty solid entry for me than my highest highs have been for Dynasty Warriors in the past. But
As I said, not my favorite one of the Warriors games this year, but still a really good one. 100%.
I told Bobby not to play it, and he didn't listen to me, and
Never.
he ended up liking it anyway. And I'm
Never.
like, I don't know what to do with this man.
What's
your number 7?
My number 7 is Ghost of Yotei.
Go for it.
This is great, man. I very famously bounced off of Ghost of Tsushima when it came out. And I think that there was a lot of just exploitation and fetishizing is what I think I said on the podcast I felt happening with that game. where this feels more like a Western in a lot of ways, the way that it's set up. It's got a little bit of revenge is a dish best served cold to it, which is a lot of fun. But I think there's some really incredible characters, some very rememberable missions in it. One of the bigger changes that I was really drawn to was the weapon system. Instead of stances, you just have different weapons that you switch to. So if you're going up against somebody that's using a dual wield, you might use a pole arm to keep them at bay and other things. And I felt that for being kind of a boilerplate revenge story, it was still done with earnest and emotion. And I think that the character acting in this is really great. A lot of, I think, at least one best new character, 2 best character nominations for me.
Lots of moment of the year nominations for you as well.
Yeah, the world never felt unfair. It felt very interesting. There was always something to explore and see. And this game just felt good. It walks a good line between being, influenced by Souls-likes, but still having a lot of that arcade feel to it, which I appreciate because I don't want everything to become a Souls-like. And having a game that is just a really good, not even like a Ninja Gaiden, but just like a fun action RPG feeling like in that setting is great. It was just a fucking awesome thing. And more importantly, just to have a game that you really bounced off of be something that you can come back to. I don't know if it'll happen anymore on this list, but it's nice to have a follow-up do better than the first one. So we'll see. That was my number 7.
Yeah. Will that come up? No, I don't think that's going to come up for me, but an interesting thought experiment for sure. One could argue that there is one that might, but I don't know about that. We'll see.
We'll see.
Bobby, my number 6 is Blueprints, which is
this
tough.
Is higher than I thought it'd be.
2 minds. Yeah, a little bit me too, but I think the highs of Blueprints are so high that it earned this space for me, even if the lows were pretty low and I ended up not technically finishing this game. Again, I was very
but
close
you still
to
had
the
best
end
character, best moments too on this one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
yep.
It did get a handful of nominations in other categories, but the thing for me is that it just continued to be when it was good, when I was having a good time with it, nothing could beat this game. The deducing the different puzzles the game had in it, like I said, as part of our best moment category, making breakthroughs was awesome. I was just having such a good time writing paper notes, drawing little diagrams in my notebook, going like, okay, there's a rook in this room, and there's a knight in this room, and there's a pawn in this room. What do those mean? What do those pictures on the wall mean? Oh, I see how that could work. Okay, all right. And then getting to another room and seeing a little sign and going, oh, okay, they confirmed that is what I thought. That's awesome. Okay, now I can do like 5 other things in the game. Learning, here's a little spoiler, I suppose. Learning that there are notes that are on red cards that are false and notes that are on blue cards that are true. And then you go, fuck, I looked at, I've been meaning, I've written down so many things and I didn't to note whether it was on a red card or a blue card.
Yeah.
Fuck, now I got to go back and think about all the notes that I've taken and reconsider if some of these things have been leading me down false places. That stuff sparked my brain so many times. And I just couldn't stop thinking about this game for the longest time. And I still continue to think about this game pretty fondly, even though we got to a point, and we both got to this point, me a little bit later than you, of, okay, I'm just kind of on a treadmill here, and I haven't made any more breakthroughs. And as you're not making more breakthroughs because of the game design, because of the kind of roguelike nature of the game, sometimes that just happens. And not making that progress really just ground everything to a halt, to the point that I went, I think I'm kind of done. And then it was only later learning, God, I was actually so fucking close. If I had just had that one good run where the one thing I needed clicked into place, I would have seen credits. And so that was extremely frustrating to me. It was extremely that meme of the person mining for diamonds and leaving like an inch before they hit the mother lode. And that was my experience with Blueprint, which soured me quite a bit. This game could have been easily my number one if it had continued to
I think we were using that language there for a while.
Yeah, it was really high.
And I know it's a lot of people's, like, with a bullet. I know a lot of people have spent,
and I respect that decision.
Yeah, I am not upset at all that people are having a good time with it. I just found that, one of the things that you're very famously against, which is things wasting your time, this game began to feel like it was doing that. And I think that hearing about what happens when you get closer to solving this in the end of the game, feeling like it's even more of a time waster. And this is a very personal thing for me. I was just like, I'm out. Like, I don't even want to be on this ride anymore if this is where the end is. So I'd be curious if you ever go back to it and hear how it feels.
It's possible, I guess. I think the problem is, well, I guess I still have the notebook with all the notes, like, right over
oh, that's fair.
play, so I could pick that up. It would be a lot of having to reintegrate to that kind of mode and wiring my brain to go, okay, I need to get back into blueprints mode. The one thing that I learned after I quit that made me want to go back in and think, oh, well, maybe I could actually beat the roguelike system, is that every room you draft, with exceptions because you can break things in a different way, but every room you draft, you can only draft once on a run. And thinking, oh, I was wasting good rooms on the lower rungs that I should have been saving for higher rungs, because those would give me more options to go to different rooms when normally I would play that game and you'd be locked into a lot of the dead end rooms near the top of the blueprint because you'd already used all the good rooms on the bottom floor. So that made me go, fuck, I think I could game this to make it work. But also, do I really want to go back and do that to myself and still maybe have a few failed runs before it would click? And I went, no, I don't think so. I think I'm done, especially now that I've seen the cutscenes and know how to at least finish and go, yeah, okay, that's what I would have done. All right, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, hell of a thing. And I think it's going to be talked about for a bit, but higher on your list than I thought it would be, but hearing you talk about it, understandably why it's there. Chase, my number 6 game is Dispatch. This had a profound impact on me. I thought I would never fall for these types of games to this degree. The Telltale games always seemed really cool. I played a few of those. I know those are really highly revered by a lot of people. I am, despite how much I've gushed about this game, I think you and I have had some very open conversation that, like, I'm kind of burnt on superhero stuff myself. I have a way higher tolerance than you do, but I'm definitely, like, I have not been excited about Marvel stuff for some time. Like, I'm following DC shit because I like DC stuff, but I'm burnt. And my favorite comic book of all time is Watchmen. And while this is no way, shape, or form Watchmen, I love a good mirror being held up to superheroes. And I like when you focus on, like, these are just big fucking people that have big fucking problems, but people can't control them. And it's just them experiencing life and all the shit that comes with it. And it's interesting how, we all fantasize what it would be like to have these powers. And then you kind of see sometimes those powers are what cause your life to be shit, So, like, be careful what you wish for. And it's such a well acted, very cool thing. I loved having the episodes. I got very excited. It was such a cool thing. Like, oh, cool, I get a new episode this week. Fuck yeah, I'm going to get to play that and figure out what's going on with these characters. And your choices have a ton. Like, I didn't even get, quote unquote, like, the good ending. There's so many different secret endings, and there's endings people haven't even got yet for this thing on how you could play it. And, like, hearing how a person I knew was playing this, how it ended up for them, I'm like, wait, that happened? Like, how the fuck does that even happen? There's, like, no path I saw. And, like, I heard about it and I made sure to do it because I wanted to see what this would be like. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. But this thing's really cool. It's very well acted. Even the Dispatch mini game in it was a lot of fun on, like, trying to gamify who would have a better chance of getting the cat out of a tree versus, like, who needs to go to, like, a fashion show and, like, figure out what to do in this environment. So Dispatch, I think, is a best debut for sure. A lot of great performances, some really good moments. and the pedigree of actual actors that are lending their talents to this game carry it. But the people who might be lesser known, including some streamers, show up very well and do a great job here too. So Dispatch was my number 6.
Very cool.
And we're there, Chase. Top 5.
Top 5. This is when it gets serious. My number 5 is a warm bath, and that is Super Robot Wars.
Super Robot Wars.
This is a game that I honestly have not put all that much time into. I haven't finished it like I have with all the other recent Super Robot Wars games. And part of that is these games are fucking long. And I know what I'm getting into. And I know I enjoy it. I know I have a great time. But there's also a ton of other games to play. And I should really not be as selfish to play, 60, 80 hours of this when there's so many other good games out there that I need to try. That being said, I still really like Y. I think some of the options they have in there, some of the new things, it is still generally the video game of Super Robot Wars that people know and love, that I know and love. But I think there are a couple of smart ideas in there when it comes to upgrading the main ship, which gives you a bunch of other upgrade possibilities. The list of different anime they're pulling from and mecha shows that they're pulling from, I think is a pretty solid list. There's some that I certainly would like to see come back from previous games, but I think this is a pretty solid list of characters and units, and that always gets me excited about one of these. Is do they have the right combinations? Do I get to use the cool units that I like? Previous games have had really difficult ways of unlocking secret characters. You kind of have to use a guide when you go through these games so you can get things right. And the last one, Super Robot Wars 30, and then this one, Y, have been a little bit better about, we know this is going to take you like 60 to 80 hours. We're just going to kind of give you the things that
Sure.
you want. Maybe there are ways to unlock those things earlier, and I think that's a better system of doing that. But for the most part, this is just a solid one of these with a lot of good stuff in there, and it is one of the games that I'm looking forward to playing over this break before we start back up again in the new year.
You said DLC, right?
And there is also new DLC that I have not played at all that brings in the Big O, and cool. I fucking love the Big O. And some other cool anime as well as some new stages and things like that. So I'm looking forward to jumping back in, seeing new stuff, and also to continue playing this game from the series that I absolutely adore. And
that's awesome, man.
So it ends up being number 5, even if I didn't put as much time into this one as I have in previous ones. You just kind of know, right?
It's
just another good one of those, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I do know. Bobby, what's your number 5?
My number 5, stop me if you've heard about this, Chase, but is Absalom. So my number 5 game.
Interesting choice.
Yes, interesting. This was year number 10. We have played this game together once on stream. I've said this a few times, I think even in the midst of this recording this week for Game of the Year stuff, but this is probably the reason I didn't play Hades 2 this year. And there was a freshness to this that scratched that itch in a way. It reminded me about, as much as we don't like beat 'em ups anymore, man, like that's kind of a perfect video game formula. You move your characters around in a certain way. You hit things, you fight a boss, you do it again. Like it's a really easy, simple way to approach video game design. But when you think about how much games have evolved since the arcade days, some ways they haven't, some ways they have, and some ways they've come back to the beginning there. This feels so modern in a way, and it feels like it's learned all the best tricks from Hades, from those Into the Breaches, all the things that make these run-based games special, while somehow being so primitive almost at times. Like, you've played this game before. In a lot of ways, you've played Absalom, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they found a way to make the hits feel good, to make the animation just shine on this. They've found a way to bring not only the beat 'em up genre, the run-based genre, but like, hey, here's your rogue, here's your tank, here's your warrior, here's your mage, and like bringing those things in and giving you things to chase, whether it be a quest here or I want to unlock this skill tree and really go for these builds. And I'm all about necromancy now. And that was something that didn't come until like late in my playthroughs for this. So it's one of those things where it's blending all these things that I've really fallen in love with since playing Monday Night Games with you into a genre that like you and I probably stood in front of in Pizza Huts and played when we were much younger and have grown through it, grown away from it. And now there's like a real possibility that you and I are going to buddy up and play a beat 'em up together at some point in time. And like that fucking floors me to think about. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to see this compared to its contemporaries. Like it is, we certainly talk about Hades 2. And you said this game is the reason you didn't play Hades 2. This is literally the reason I didn't play Hades 2 because I flipped a coin at the at the last weekend of like which one of these am I going to play, and it landed on the one for Absalom. So I played Absalom instead of Hades 2, which actually was a really great decision because Hades 2 is now on sale, not for a whole lot, like it's not much of a percentage off, but it's on sale. So now I picked up Hades 2 as well to eventually play. But hey, I paid a few less dollars for it. That's great.
That's awesome.
But the putting it up against contemporaries when you're talking about beat 'em ups, we got some pretty cool looking beat 'em ups this year too.
Yeah.
The Marvel one.
It's really good.
Shredder's Revenge was not from this year, right?
No, that was last year.
Okay. There was another one I thought that was kind of in the mix for another one of those.
There's been a few for sure.
In any case.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In any case, having this one do just a little bit more, like finding a way to kind of Hadesify that style of arcade beat 'em up and finding ways of making branching story paths happen even though you're going through the same areas again and again and again. I think they did a really great job. And you mentioned the feel. I've mentioned it before. I'll certainly mention it again. Muramasa the Demon Blade, one of my favorite games of all time. And this game feels close to that.
That's
in
awesome.
a way that a lot of other games that I have wanted to feel more like Muramasa have failed, have fallen off. And Absalom, I think, does a really good job of making you feel good as you fight and giving you new powers. Now, I wish some of those moves were just things your character could do by default. I think having the dive kick on the elf just all the time would be a nice thing to do.
Yep.
And not have it be an upgrade that sometimes you get and sometimes fuck you. But I still really enjoyed getting the upgrades as I played through each run and finding new things and having the permanence that comes along with in a similar way to Hades, where you're able to get permanent upgrades to continue to do better on these runs so you can get to the end. I just really liked the execution of Absalom.
Yeah, man.
Both from the way it looks and the way it plays and the way it continues to mechanically bring in more depth as you go. I'm still definitely in this kind of honeymoon phase where I've only played a handful of hours into it. You are in like the second honeymoon phase when you're at the end of the game and you have so many options available to you. I've heard there is kind of this desert a little bit in the middle where
I felt that for a minute.
As much progress anymore. But it's also not an incredibly long game regardless. So I think you can kind of brute force and get through it. I'm glad I played this over Hades 2. I'm not saying this is necessarily a better game than Hades 2. I bet if I played Hades 2, I would probably come away and say that game probably plays a little bit better. But I was more excited by what Absalom was offering. It felt new and novel, despite also being familiar and nostalgic. And I think they pulled off a really solid combination of those things.
Hades 2 would have satisfied me. Absalom surprised me, and I think I was chasing that surprise more this year than I was. Like, other things are satisfying me that like were known quantities. And Hades 2 might surprise me. Who the fuck knows? I plan on playing that in the next 2 weeks, just to be candid here. Like, I'm gonna fire it up now that I don't have the weight of Game of the Year on my shoulders, which feels silly because it probably could have made it there. But anywho, that was Absalom, man. We're now to your number 4.
My number 4. Excuse me, just a little dramatic. Gotta get my throat clear so I can get the drama out. My number 4 is Sword of the Sea.
Nice.
I thought this was just a really impressive game all around. You have it higher? I'm guessing not.
I don't have it on my list. No.
Wow, what a miss from you. This was just an incredibly well executed one of these.
Yeah.
We've seen this game before. We've seen this game before from this studio. You know,
Yeah.
you really like the Pathless. I really liked Abzu, and we've all played Journey. There are so many games that and these people have worked on all of these games in some capacity, whether the actual studio themselves or people from those previous studios saying, yeah, let's make another one of these. And I think Sword of the Sea generally is just another good one of those, but gets the added, this game feels fucking awesome to play. Like,
it
just
does.
to
That
move
feels
around
great.
it. The skating, surfing, Tony Hawkness stuff that you can do to just navigate the world made it feel amazing. Like Skate Story is a game that came out this year, and Skate Story has an incredible art style and some really fucked up weird shit going on that is very intriguing. And yet playing that game, I'm like, I like a lot of what it's doing, but the skating doesn't really feel that fun. I'm not having as good of a time just navigating the world, and that was never a problem in Sword of the Sea. I was so excited to get to a new area and see, okay, what can I grind on? What can I jump over? How can I use the new dash move that I just got? What can I do to get to that spot over there? I see like a little collectible up there. I want to go do that now. And it delighted me at every step of the way. It also doesn't overstay its welcome. It's something that you can finish in a weekend for sure, and probably in a day, evening, if you really put your mind to it. It just was a super pleasant experience, like all of those games tend to be.
Yeah.
But it had that little extra of the movement tech being so fun to interact with and express yourself through the gameplay, that we've gotten hints of it, you know, like in
Yeah.
Journey, when you do that kind of sand slide and it's like a really cool moment from that game. Cool. That one moment from Journey that everybody like goes back to and goes, wow, what a cool moment. That's like the whole game of Sword of the
Yeah.
Sea. And it's pretty incredible how they've been able to expand on that cool moment and make it a full game and continue to make it great at every step.
I agree with all you said there. Like you went much further in it than not much further, but you went a little bit further in it than I did. And I really enjoyed my time with it. And I agree. I have no arguments against like why you care about it so much. Like I just had some really big hits for me this year outside of that style of game, but it's fucking great, man. Like that game is slick as hell. I had a smile on my face playing that game for sure. Chase, that brings me to my number 4 friend, and that would be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Arguably one of the best sandboxes I've ever been in when it comes to just a world that you can fuck around in. And it felt very interesting to be in that time period and to have some mixing of actual historic people into this very, very, very false fiction narrative of what's going on. But again, a game that I did not play the first one for no reason. I just never got around to it. And when I heard the buzz, actually what happened is my cousin in the shared library purchased it. I started playing it. I ended up buying it because I wanted to play it when he was playing it. So that's how much I was enjoying my time with it. But I like that you have so much player agency to go and tell the story you want to. You can make Henry, more stealth and kind of a piece of shit if you want, or you can be, this very altruistic knight. There's a lot of cool people that you can have relationships with in the game. There's a lot of really awesome quest lines that reminded me a lot of The Witcher 3, only in the sense of like you can just go and talk to people. And those are all the quests I wanted to do because it was like building world and relationships. It didn't feel like it was there for XP. And that's one of the crazy things. Like all that stuff's happening in the background of this game. And it's, in a world of maps of Ubisoft and all this weird, like, hey, get these skins to make this wallet bigger. All the XP stuff doesn't really fucking matter. Like it just kind of happens and the game rewards your play style. It allows you to be this person you want to be in it. and the quests have a lot of depth and emotion to it. One of the coolest open worlds I've had the pleasure of playing in a really long time. Kingdom Come,
very cool, man.
Deliverance 2.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it and thinking like, man, it does sound cool. It sounds like people are really taking the tradition of something like a Fallout New Vegas that really feels like a Rosetta Stone for those kinds of games in a way that something like Fallout 3 wasn't exactly. But developers who have gone in and found more interesting ways to do their open worlds, because you're right, we've gotten, I don't necessarily want to say slop, the 2025 word of the year.
Yeah.
But there certainly feels like we have gotten so many of these kinds of Ubisoft games over, the last decade or whatever. And so to see games kind of try to find another way of coming at that genre and finding success with that, I think is really cool.
I stole so much soup. Midnight soup stealer. That's what. So if your soup was missing, it was me. Chase, you're in the top 3 here. I'm very curious what your number 3 is.
Yeah, I wonder if I get to talk about this game now. If it's your number 3. If it's not, then we'll have to wait. My number 3 is Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
That is my number 3 as well.
Hey, we can talk about it together.
Crazy to see this game this high on both of our lists.
We mentioned it on Wednesday, but there is the way we both came to this game is fascinating to see where it ended up on our lists. This was a game that we came to this game from opposite directions. That I, despite myself, really loved the first game. And ended up continuing to think really fondly of it. And the further I got away from it, the more fondly I thought of it. I would even joke about, I know I shouldn't like this game, but I did like Death Stranding. And you fell off at some point. You fell off. You got pretty far into it for sure. But you fell off at some point, which is a pretty late part of that game.
Yeah.
But you did eventually fall off, and I think you were generally pretty down on Death Stranding 1.
Especially hearing how stupid it got.
The second game, sure, that's Kojima, baby. And I think you learned to embrace Kojima more this year than you have in any previous year.
Oh yeah.
I would actually be very interested to see what happens if you went back and played Death Stranding 1 today. I think you'd end up enjoying it a lot more.
I agree.
But then when this game came out, I was pretty apathetic about it. That, I didn't really need a second game. I have my memories of the first game. I think that's fine. I don't need to know more about what happens in Death Stranding 2. I'm probably fine. And you weren't going to play it at all until you did. Until you just bought the game and started playing it and going, "Oh, Chase, I think this game's actually pretty good." in your way. Do you want to talk a little bit about your early experience with that?
Yeah, like I saw it getting the praise, and I was like, oh well, people just like love to kiss Kojima's ass, and I'm like, I don't need that fucking thing.
We see it every year at the Game Awards.
We see it every year.
One specific guy likes to kiss one specific guy's ass.
I think I even said, like, I'll probably just check out his Metal Gear Solid remake because I haven't had that experience before. And firing it up, man, like there was just a quality to it that felt really impressive. And it kind of hit me. I had this moment early on where, if you don't know me, folks, I'm a sicko, and probably, like, depending on the day of the week you ask me, like a variation of a survival game is my favorite thing ever. And one of those is like anytime I get to do like labor. So I realized that I loved working in Death Stranding. I loved picking up packages that were lost from other people. I loved trying to find the most efficient route and system of networks to like be a well-oiled machine. I wanted my production to be top tier. And so I started to gamify this game, which is weird to say, of like, I'm going to play this the way that I would play one of those sicko games. And then I was like, but like, I haven't really seen a whole lot of the BT stuff, which I was really not a fan of in the first game. It just annoyed the shit out of me. Like, don't, like, this game already has the right level of friction. I don't need this entity to slow that friction down in a way. And knowing that that was kind of gone, and I think I'll call this out, folks. I haven't played it, Chase. I don't think you have, but allegedly, the Game of the Year edition or director's cut or whatever he called it of the first one brought a lot of the stuff that we enjoy, like the pistol harness and all that stuff that made the quality of life improvements. So I do think if I went back to the first one, playing that, it would be good. But yeah,
so you were enjoying this, and you got me interested enough that I went, okay, I got to try this too. And we were both playing it, and at some point we were both talking about it on the show, and I wouldn't say we hit a wall exactly, but we definitely got to a point of, yeah, it's maybe not as interesting as the first one. The feel of the game isn't quite there. The story isn't quite there from the first game. The first game had a lot of intrigue to it of being a brand new mystery to solve, and this one, feels like we know a lot about what's going on, and so the new things they're trying to add to it feel a little bolted and tacked on. And so I think we were both, it's fine. I'm going to keep on playing it. You're finding fun in the mechanics. I was finding fun in the mechanics as well. But this was going to be like maybe a number 8 or something on my list.
Yeah.
And then just the more we played it, the more I think we started to appreciate what it was doing. The more options that became available to us that opened up new avenues of play. The story doesn't really get better. I'll admit that one. I do think the story's
the weakest part for me
on this one. Even if there are some fun, weird Kojima things that go on, I think there's a lot of, as we showed in our previous episode, there's a lot of moments that are interesting in this game. There are a lot of characters in this game that are interesting as well, but the overall story is maybe not quite there for me. And yet I also started to really relate to the work of the game in a similar way that I had with the first game. It's fun to take packages to people and to figure out, okay, if I need to go to this place and grab these materials, and then I need to go to that place and grab those materials, and then if I come back here, I can finish building that road, and that'll get me, well, it won't get me to that next place, but it will at least like get me closer to that place. And now I got to go to these other 5 places and go collect even more materials. And there were so many sessions that I had over the course of this year when I went, well, I'm just going to sit down and do resource management this gaming session, which sounds like a really boring thing. And if you watch me play it, you would probably go, are you having a good time? This looks boring as fuck. And the answer is, I was having a fucking blast. I'm just, letting the radio play as I drive from place to place. And, there was a little bit of me that was also that Bobby sicko. But this game it doesn't have the survival bullshit that so many of your other survival crafting games have. And that's so fair. I was a lot more fine with it. But this game just continued to have moments that felt really good and made me appreciate what was going on more and more. And I think, we referenced it earlier in these lists, but I think overall this is a better game than the first Death Stranding. Even if from a story perspective, I think Death Stranding 1 still clears it. But this is just a better game. It's a more well-refined game. This is a better game than the first one.
Oh, that's not even a question for me. Like I think that this is knocking on, if not running past, Metal Gear Solid V for me. Like I think this could be past that even.
Yeah. I had a really special time with some of the things that V was doing, but V also has a lot of issues with.
I played it again this year, and playing it compared to this, like I think if you had one of those, like the new engine they're using and shit, it'd be fantastic. I mean, it's still really, really good. Don't get me wrong. This just feels well polished and fully realized.
It's a great game. Kojima did an awesome job on this one. I went from thinking this was a completely unnecessary sequel to thinking, wow, I'm glad I played that game. And amazing that it gets both of our number 3s. And you know, I I guess there's one last chance that one game could possibly beat out Death Stranding, but I'm pretty sure the answer is you don't have it on your list, and it will.
Well, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be for you. I don't think I know what your 2 is. I'm pretty sure I know what your 1 is.
Yeah, you do, buddy. My number 2 is Ball Pit.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
yeah, it's Ball Pit, baby. Ball Pit's great. I had such a good time with Ball Pit. It is, you know, that's my second game this year with ball in the title. But this is the better one. This is another one of those roguelike games where you are technically a roguelike, I suppose, but feels a little different than a roguelike. It's a loopy kind of game. But this is another one where you are shooting shit to make stuff explode in cool ways. And I think Ball Pit does it in the coolest way. The combinations of powers that you can get, the way the powers can start to interact with each other and fuse together to two different kinds of fusion, like either a fusion to make a brand new weapon that's completely different than either the previous ones, or literally just combining two weapons together to do the things that both of them do, but just as a single attack is cool. I loved finding those combinations. I wish more of those combinations were available in the game. Some stuff just doesn't fuse with other stuff the first way, the brand new weapon way. But it's not just the powers, it's also the characters that you get, and you continue to unlock characters over the course of the game, and each character kind of has their own quirk that will vastly change the way you play the game. And one of them changes it so you don't play the game anymore. The game plays itself, which is a funny little joke that also ends up being useful at different times. This was the most addictive game I played this year.
Oh yeah, you were fucking hooked.
I would play a run. I would play a run and then I'd go, I should probably go to bed, but well, I just unlocked a new character, so let's like at least do one run with this new character. And then I think if I actually maybe if I combine that power with this power, I should try that one more run and just see if I can combine those two powers. And okay, well that was really cool. That did work the way I thought. Well, maybe I should do another run and see if I could do it this way on this other map and see if it works on that one too. And you just end up losing hours and hours to this game. I still don't love the Loop Hero style. Once you're finished with the video game part, you go back to a town. They try to do it a little differently, where you have a little bit more control over how the town is built, and you play a pinball style game with the town to get resources. I found that to generally be pretty tedious. Not my favorite part of the game by far, but it didn't get in the game's way enough to bother me too much. And then you could just jump right in and play the kind of Arkanoid on steroids that normal active playing Ball Pit offers. It was a hell of a thing. I beat it super quickly just by putting a ton of time into it in a very short span of time. And I couldn't have asked for a better experience. It was one of my highlights of the year for sure.
I wish that you wouldn't have played it on stream.
You asked me to play it on stream.
No, I said we're gonna play it. You can control it, and you're like, no, well, you don't have all the stuff unlocked. I want to play my version of it. And so,
you wanted me to slow myself down. I could.
Yeah, buddy, because I hadn't seen it all yet.
Needs room to run.
And so seeing it all unlocked was just like, oh well, okay, I know what this game is. That's cool. And I think playing it and getting that would have been really fun for me. I think it's a really awesome game. Don't get me wrong, but like after that stream, I was just like, well, I kind of know what that is. I'm good. Maybe I'll come back to it. And the further I
just wanted an excuse not to play that game. He wanted to play it.
Motherfucker, I brought that game to you. Don't you forget it.
You did, and you should follow through and play it.
Well, there's other things I'm playing, like my number 2 game, which is Arc Raiders.
Of course,
Arc Raiders, as on December 19th, 2025 is my number 2 game. These games, obviously, Destiny 2 was high up one year for you, Chase. I don't know if that aged as gracefully as you had hoped. Probably will say the same thing about Arc Raiders at some juncture.
I mean, honestly, Destiny 2 aged pretty good considering the amount of time I put into
That's
that
fair.
game over the course of my lifespan of playing that game. I think honestly, Destiny 2 probably needs to be higher on what was it, the 2017 list?
Yeah.
Isn't that when it came out?
Yeah.
Which was also the Breath of the Wild year, so that was a little tough, right?
Yeah. But
Anyway,
with all that being said, I think it's one of those just incredible social experiments that I get to be a part of right now. And the game does the game has kind of casualized or revolutionized, made more approachable a genre for a lot of people. And a lot of people got, like, I didn't play Fortnite when it came out. I didn't play PUBG when it came out. Played Destiny when it came out, and I got to experience that, but that was still kind of aping on something else. This is baby's first extraction, and I'm having a good time with it. And I love the world they've built. I love the support that they're pouring into this game. I think they've got a 10-year plan, much like Destiny. We'll see what that looks like in this day and age. But Arc Raiders is a game that I have just found myself only wanting to play since it's been out. Like, I have all this other stuff that I am very interested in, but it's just like, all right, play like 3 extractions and then do that. And then it's midnight and I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to bed. So Arc Raiders is really, really good. Tons of moments. Love the style. It is badass, baby. Chase, we are here. The top games of the year. What is your number?
The very unsurprising picks from both of us at this point. My number one's interesting because I didn't know it was my number one. Bobby knew it was my number one, and only when Bobby told me, "Hey, that's your number one, right?" I went, "Oh, yeah, you're probably right." And the more I pondered over it, the more I'm like, "Fuck yeah, man! Despelote is my game
Hell
of
yeah.
the year."
That's awesome, man.
It tells such a personal story in such a stylish and mechanically dense and interesting way. I really love the way they're able to surprise the player as you play through these different time skips, and watch as this 8-year-old kid goes through this experience, one of growing up and learning about life and learning how to interact with his parents and his sister and his school and the people around him, but also this really codifying, galvanizing time for his country of Ecuador as they qualified for the World Cup. So it does take some historical significance on it. It is able to blend its semi-autobiographical, semi-fictional story with real world footage of these soccer matches that are happening on the TVs around in the game. The commentary that is happening from the developer at different times when they pop in and just give you some context or tell you something more about how he was feeling at this time is just felt so personal.
Sure.
We mentioned it in our moment of the year, but this is a game where it really felt like an auteur who was specifically talking to me as a player, like a one-on-one conversation. We've talked about Kojima games before. We just talked about Kojima games, but we've talked about how Kojima is listed as an auteur and how, oh, it's like he just makes that game. It's like he does, but he makes it with a giant team. He's not going there pushing every single pixel on Death Stranding 2. He's got a giant team of people who are bringing their own expertise to that. And this game does have a team. There's a smaller team that's going in it, but it is much more. This is one guy's story, and he is communicating that to you, the player. And I think it's done in an incredibly beautiful way, a very profound way, especially when it gets near the ending, where you start to learn both how the game was made and also kind of the epilogue of what happens to this guy later in his life. Uh, Absolutely amazing. I am not a soccer fan, and yet this game, which is mostly about soccer, both the watching of it and the playing of it as a kid, um, was awesome.
That's
And
really
it made
cool.
me. It actually weirdly made me excited to watch the World Cup this year,
Oh,
or at
sure.
least to engage with it more than I ever have in the past. To see the passion that somebody would feel, the impact that this moment for someone's country had on them as an 8-year-old. Um, you know, maybe I need to get some of that, and maybe I need to find a team, maybe not my own country's team. I'm not necessarily,
Sure.
pro US these days. I think we've done a lot that makes me a little against nationalism, but maybe finding a team that I can celebrate with and be a part of. And
Hell
for a
yeah.
game to give me that experience, for a game to give me that motivation, is a pretty rare thing. And I think
Yeah.
Despelote is a pretty rare thing. It only takes you a handful of hours to beat, maybe like 2 or 3. Really, really not that long. And I think it is completely worth trying. I was charmed by
That's
Despelote,
awesome.
and it is my number 1 game of the year.
Well, I called it way back when it came out, and I said it then, I'll say it again. Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is a generational game. I think it is a masterpiece, is the word I used on the show then. And I still feel that strongly today. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I feel like I've really just shared how much this game impacted me throughout the course of Game of the Year, and especially over this year. I've talked a lot about it, but I'm very excited that I had the opportunity to play it. And I do think that despite Chase's hesitation with it, this is a game that I think people will look back in 20 years and talk the same way we do about the Final Fantasies and the Zeldas and things of that nature today. Like, I think it will have that lasting of an impact, and it's one of the few ones out there that might annoy you with how much you're hearing about it, but I assure you it's worth all that noise. So Clair Obscura Expedition 33, an absolute triumph of the game, and congratulations to Sandfall Interactive for such a fucking year riding that wave. Really fucking cool to see. And that is our personal list, and we actually have a list over here on the right. Math is putting together a list here, Chase. I don't know how we feel.
This one is a little bit more cut and dried because we only had 2 games that matched on our lists. Absalom doesn't quite make it because we felt so strongly about other games. But as you can see here, it's pretty clear that Death Stranding 2 on the beach is the one that we can.
I knew that going into this, by the way.
I also knew that going in.
Yeah.
I thought there was an outside chance that maybe you had Ball Pit kind of lowish, that maybe it would get enough points. But I was pretty sure that Death Stranding 2 was going to.
And I'm not mad about that. I really am not.
I'm not mad. I guess I'm a little disappointed. It is a game that I was very taken with, but at the same time, it's also a game that there were moments where I did not enjoy that game, and I think there were some other games that continued to be great throughout that I prefer for sure.
Sure.
But when it comes to this is the game that you like, that I like, that it's not like it's not like one of us had it number 1 and the other one had it as like number 8 or something. This was both of our number 3s. We agree where it goes on the list, and I too am fine with this being our combined game of the year.
Yeah.
Even if there's a little part of me that thinks we're going to post that and somebody's going to go lame, and I go, yeah, I think you're right. It is a little lame that's the one in a year where there were
say it to my face.
Games to us.
Say it to my face.
I know that you might actually go for this idea. I don't necessarily like this idea, but it is an idea I will put out there. What if we said it's a tie between Clair Obscure Expedition 33 and Despelote, and then Death Stranding 2 is like our definitive number 2? Or do you want to go with the math?
I feel like we had some awesome conversations together this year on Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like we had some amazing things that we talked about on and off the show. I feel that was something that we kind of bonded on a little bit this year about like Kojima shit and just what the fuck is this? I loved that game. I absolutely loved that game. I put that game, it's my 3rd favorite game. The same for you. Like the shit that think about the stuff, the Split Fiction's not on here because of that game. You know, like that took a spot.
That's your fault. It's not my fault.
But
Split Fiction's on my list. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think Clair Obscur being number one is any far lamer to other people than considering. You know, like that's number one everywhere.
Because they're gonna look. Well,
I don't give a fuck what people look at. It's our shit.
But you're right. You're right. But like, if somebody looks at your list, they obviously see where your allegiances lie, and when they look at my list, they see where my allegiance.
Yeah, and they get posted side by side.
We have our personal. The things that really matter to me, and then you're right. The show comes together. I am fine with it. I thought I'd bring it up as an idea, but you know,
if you want to readjust anything on there though, like if you want
a good game.
If you want Absalom higher, if you want any of that shit, like we can do that. Like, take a look at that. Let me know what you think. If you want to settle on a different structuring,
honestly, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's very funny that Super Robot Wars Y is.
Hey, you want to do you want to do this? Put Despelotes too. I'll take Clair Obscur as 3. I really don't care.
Well, they're tied, right?
Yeah,
like they both got the exact same amount of points. That's the order on this list does not really mean one is better than the other one. It's that they're both number 2.
That's fair.
So I don't care. This seems like a solid list to me. And again, if it was a bunch of games that we played and a bunch of games that we played that both of us played, I mean, and we had different passions around, you know, this game should be higher, but we both feel, you know, different things about it. I think maybe that's more of a conversation. But when most of our lists are games that only one of us experienced, it's really hard, like you said, when the law of averages comes in, it's really hard to argue against that because, you know, we could agree on 2 games here and those 2 got pretty high scores. That's just how it works. And I'm fine with this list. I think this is representative of the way we feel about this year.
Hell yeah, man. Before we get to our most anticipated, I just want to say, love you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks for doing this with me. Thanks for celebrating games with me.
Right back at you, man.
It means a lot to do this with you. I know that this is probably not being heard by a lot of people, but this is one of my favorite things I get to do. And it's cool to celebrate stuff.
I mean, this is totally. I mean, we've had this conversation offline as well. This is more than anything else, this is an excuse for me to hang out with one of my best friends.
Absolutely.
If you know what, I'll give it to you, buddy. You're my best friend.
Hey,
it's an excuse to hang out with my best friend each week, and that's awesome. That's awesome that we get the space to do this, to share this together. And if somebody listens to it, great. When we have some really great community members that and friends who have checked in on the show or been hardcore into watching or listening to the show, and sometimes they fall off, and that's fine. But this is something that we've been able to come together and make consistently over an extremely long period of time. 451 episodes. It's
crazy.
Nuts that we have,
and we got a strong
done that.
Year 10 we're going into that we have a lot of cool stuff planned for. So
I'm very excited for some of the I wouldn't even say changes, like the refinements to what we want to do with this show. I think there's going to be some cool stuff, and I'm excited to share those moments with you and our audience as well.
100%.
So this is a great list for this year, and we have another year coming up in a handful of days, Bobby. I don't want to scare you, but
I know
they're not stopping with the years.
The game's going to be a new still one coming. And
there's a lot of new games coming in that year, but we need to talk about what we're anticipating. What is our most anticipated game?
What is your most anticipated game?
I'm still thinking, so I want to throw it back to you. What is your most anticipated game for 2026, Bobby?
Well, the bit doesn't work if I go first, but I'll do my best to maintain it.
Okay.
Well, I was supposed to pick a single game, but I'm going to take some casual liberties here and I'm going to do my own thing.
That sounds
I got a wheel up here, motherfucker.
Oh shit. Yes. Fuck Yes! Let's fucking go!
So I've put
Wheel me, bitch!
I've put a bunch of games on here that I'm really excited about, and I'm gonna let the wheel and destiny and whatever fucking powers above us decide what I'm gonna be excited about for a change.
I'm so proud of you.
And the wheel says,
oh my god. Just look at that big Fable.
Fable!
It is Fable! The biggest name on the board.
The biggest name on the board. But you know what? Chicken Chaser all the way, baby. Fable is my most anticipated game of 2026.
That's fucking incredible. That is going to take a moment to get over. Well, you know, I will also, I did not make a wheel, but I will also mealy mouth a little bit here.
Okay.
And say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 that I'm interested in. That's really tough to pick. I've got the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. That is a game I have tried playing on the 3DS and did not like at all, but I really like the changes that they're proposing and what that game looks like. That could be really cool. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. Did you have that on your list?
I did.
Okay, I saw you had Monster Hunter something. I didn't know if
I had that, and I also had Fire Emblem.
Yes, I did see you had Fire Emblem, which is also on my list too. The last couple Fire Emblems have not necessarily been my thing, but there's always a chance that they can knock one out of the park. They've done it in the past, and I could see that being big. Monster Hunter Stories, you know, that's a series that I've very much loved. I think to Bobby's chagrin, where he's like, "Oh, you're a Monster Hunter fan now, but just not the way I asked. The monkey's paw curls."
Yeah, I know.
You're like, "God damn it! I was so close. I was so close to getting what I asked for." I mentioned earlier, Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered is what it is officially being called. I'm just very curious on what the fuck that is. And then we have I don't know if this was on your wheel, the Star Wars Zero Company.
I don't know if that's 2026, is it?
Star Wars game. I don't know. No idea.
I did put down the one that is, which is the pod racer one. So I have that one for sure.
Star Wars Zero Company.
I might have missed it. I had it written down, but I'm like, I can't get a locked in year on this thing.
It does just say coming soon on the Steam page, and there's no other specific.
I only put stuff.
You know, I still feel comfortable having it here, but I don't know, man. I'm always going to be a sucker for Fire Emblem. That is 100%. The one that I want to be. Of all these games, I want that to be the best one. Like that's the one that if it was bad would disappoint me the most.
Yep.
So I guess that means it's my most anticipated. I have the most riding on that game being good, even if I think maybe the other games have probably a slightly better chance of being good. I'm still a Fire Emblem guy at heart, so I will continue.
I'm not mad about Fable winning here for me either. I love Fable. So
I really love that first Fable and like the second one, and you know we won't talk about the third one, but
yeah, of course not. That is our Game of the Year coverage. We have 3 episodes. If you've watched live, thank you. If you're listening, you should go and watch some of the stuff. We had some cool interactivity with it, and you get to look at Chase and I. So win-win.
Should we, if for the listeners out there, should we just run down the 10?
Oh yeah, let's do the 10 really quick.
Yeah,
let me pull that back up.
Nobody heard what the 10 was. They obviously heard what the number 1 and probably can guess what the 2 and 3 are. But
there we go.
Maybe just quickly run that down.
So number 10 is Blueprints. 9 is Super Robot Wars Y. 8 is Sword of the Sea. 7, are these? Which ones are ties? Because we have 3 7s here.
I wouldn't worry about the ties until you get to number 2. As long as those 2 are tied, I think we're fine.
Okay.
You can leave the rest of them like they are.
All right. Sword of the Sea is our number 8. Kingdom Come Deliverance is number 7. Absalom is 6. Ball X Pit is 5. Arc Raiders is 4. Despelote and Clair Obscure are tied for number 2. And our number 1 game of the year is Death Stranding 2 On the Beach. And I'm okay. I think that's a pretty good snapshot of us and our musings this year. We'll have all of this stuff up on. If you're watching live for whatever reason, or if you're watching this first before the audio, we're going to post all the graphics and stuff on Monday. If you're listening to this, it went up on Monday. This gives you something to listen to when you get tired of your drunk uncle talking about politics at the dinner table during the holiday. So listen to your other drunk uncles have a good time talking about video games instead. But yes, if you need other things to do, because Chase and I are going to take a break. We'll be back the first week of January with a Monday stream, and then we'll also be doing our January preview, which is scary to say out loud. You can follow along with a lot of the show if that would be working, which it's not right now. Thank you again, Streamlabs. But the casualhour.com will get you where you need to go, and we'll be back in early January with new content. Go watch some of our old stuff if you want to. There's plenty for you to be busy with, including what Chase does when he's not hanging out with me. Chase, what do you got going on?
Yeah, just real quick, Chase K Plays, that's my YouTube channel. I'm currently playing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the first one. It's been a lot of fun. I'm on Tatooine now, and it's a game I haven't played for a very long time, not since it first came out. So cool to see it to re-experience that game. It's been a great time. It's called Go Play a Star War is the series name, and check it out on Chase K Plays. And then I've got my other podcast that I do with a good friend of the show, Pierce Porshane. It's called Pilot Program, where Pierce and I watch the first episode of every television show ever made. Our last one was on Friday Night Lights, which we had a really good conversation about. And our next one is going to be on Star Trek: The Original Series, which I've not experienced. So it's that one will be interesting as well.
Hell yeah!
I'm ready to become a Trekkie, I guess. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm ready.
Stranger Things. Stranger Things have happened.
No. We're not watching Stranger Things. We're watching Star Wars or Star Trek, the original series. Slightly different.
Don't you dare call it Star Wars. Don't you dare do that. All right, man. Thanks again for a great year. We have some fun stuff in the year ahead. Some stuff we're looking forward to, clearly. And enjoy some of the other stuff that we've been doing or adjacent to this stuff with Chasey K Plays. And go watch our Split Fiction run there. We had a really good time doing that. Not good enough to be in the top 10.
Well, I had a really good time doing that. Bobby obviously didn't have as good of a time.
Thank you all for making this show happen. We appreciate you, Chase. Thanks for putting